Today I'm close to home in London to share some of my favourite stories from the programme. And in this challenging time, hear stories of encouragement from Christians. Welcome to Songs of Praise. In these unprecedented times when we can't gather to worship in church, you're especially welcome to join us today. Here's what's coming up.
The new Archbishop of York, the Right Rev Stephen Cottrell, reflects on how we might best cope with the effects of the coronavirus outbreak.
In the midst of all of this, we are discovering something important, that we belong to each other. And that's always been one of the great messages of the Christian faith.
I recall past meetings with remarkable survivors whose faith sustained them through times of trial. A resident of Grenfell Tower who never gave up hope, and the inspiring D-Day veteran, Harry Billinge.
Love is the strongest thing. Love is stronger than death.
Our music today was filmed before the current restrictions came into place and comes from churches across the country, maybe one near you. We begin with a favourite, guaranteed to stir the soul as we place our hope in God. In the last few weeks, we've been thrown into quite unprecedented times. Most of us have never known anything like it. To consider the implications for us, our families, and our faith, I've been hearing from the Right Reverend Stephen Cottrell, the new Archbishop of York. We're very much in a time of crisis at the moment. How are we meant to respond?
Well, there's a story from the scriptures that has been kind of rolling around my head these last few days. It's that story in Mark chapter 5 where the woman who's been suffering from hemorrhages for many years comes to Jesus, and she is isolated. She's what is thought of as being unclean, and therefore she doesn't feel as if she can touch Jesus, but she does touch the hem of his garment. And it says in the story that when she touched the hem of his garment, Jesus felt the power go out of him. She received healing and blessing. And I find that story relevant and hopeful at the moment because many people are self-isolating. Public worship in our churches has stopped. The normal ways in which we come to Jesus, they're denied us at the moment. But it doesn't mean we can't come to Jesus. And that image of touching the hem of his garment could be a way of rethinking how we live out our faith.
Are you worried at all that we could be losing the church community?
Well, it's going to be a different sort of community. Our being a Christian is going to be less characterised by coming to church, more characterised by the lives of service and of prayer that we lead day by day. That might be quite a good thing for us to learn. You know, the church isn't just about what happens on Sunday, it's what we do on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And if we can be a church that looks out for our neighbours, finds out who's isolated and ill and frightened in our neighbourhood and serves them, then we can really be the church in a new way.
Have you found this has impacted on your faith at all?
Well, yeah, I suppose it has. I think it has for most of us. And the things which I normally rely on to sustain me in my faith, they're not there in the same way.
So what do you do?
When I, as a Christian, talk about God, I'm seeing in my heart and imagination the person Jesus. And Jesus is the one who shares our life on earth, which also means sharing not just the joys of life, but also the pain, the suffering, the dying. So I don't expect as a Christian to be immune from these things, but I do hope, believe and pray that God will be with me in the midst of them.
In my chat with the Archbishop of York designate, the Right Rev Stephen Cottrell, he's offering everyone a message of hope.
My word of hope for those who are feeling anxious is to look out for your neighbour, look out for yourself, and actually see that in the midst of all of this, we are discovering something important, that we belong to each other. And that's always been one of the great messages of the Christian faith. Jesus calls God our Father. That means we are sisters and brothers. It also means, this is a great bit of hope, it also means that we're all members of the royal family, blood brothers and sisters of Jesus the King. So look to Christ, look to God, and find in there God sharing your life.
I gain great comfort from music. Have you found yourself turning to hymns or worship songs during this time?
Yeah, well, there's been one in particular by Matt Redman, 10,000 Reasons, which has the lines in it, whatever may pass, whatever lies before me, let me be singing when the evening comes. I love that image that, whatever happens, in life and in death, let me be singing, let me be praising God. And that's what I'm going to try to hang on to.
The sun comes up, it's a new day dawning. It's time to sing the song again. Whatever may pass and whatever lies before me, let me be singing when the evening comes. Bless the Lord, oh my soul. Oh, His holy name. Sing like never before. Oh, my soul, I worship your holy name. You reach me love and restore to anger. Your name is great and your heart is kind. For all your goodness I will keep on singing. 10,000 reasons for my heart to find. Bless the Lord, oh my soul, oh my soul. Worship His holy name. Sing like never before. Oh my soul, I worship your holy name. On that day when my strength is failing, the end was clear and my time has come. Still my soul will sing your praise unending. 10,000 years and then forever. Bless the Lord, oh my soul, oh my soul. Worship His holy name. Sing like never before. Oh my soul, I worship your holy name. I worship your holy name. Bless the Lord, oh my soul, oh my soul. Worship His holy name. Sing like never before. Oh my soul, I worship your holy
We're living through a very difficult period in history, but sometimes we can glimpse the presence of God in poignant ways. In 2017 here in London, we witnessed the Grenfell Tower tragedy. And on its first anniversary, I met one survivor to reflect on what happened. Fatima Alves and her husband owned their flat on the 13th floor of Grenfell Tower and had lived there for 20 years with their 2 children. 1 year on, does it get any easier for you being here?
No, it's still difficult, but to think that we are alive and we could be one of the dead people. So we thank God. I thank God every day for the gift of life.
I know it's very difficult for you to talk about it, especially here. So should we go and find somewhere more private?
Yes,
Okay,
sure.
come on.
Thank you.
On the night of the fire, Fatima and her husband returned to the tower around 12:30. They entered the lift with 2 others who pressed for the 4th floor, where the fire started.
when they exit at 4th floor, we saw smoke. Not very thick smoke, a light smoke. And my husband said, well, there's smoke, there's a fire. And then he realized he didn't have his phone with him. And he said to me, could you please go downstairs to the garage and bring my phone up while I'll go upstairs and bring the children down. When I arrived back from the garage with my husband's phone, I saw the firefighters going in one direction, so I just followed them to see where the fire was. And then I saw the window exploded. And then when he came down, my husband said, I woke up all the neighbors. I know they're going to be mad on me, but I don't care.
Thank God that your husband knocked on everyone's door on that floor.
Yeah. If we thought like it's going to be like what happened, instead of coming out, I would go straight to the top floor and knock on the doors. But whoever thought this was going to happen like that?
Fatima and her family found refuge at a friend's house overlooking the tower.
And I was, thank God, for being in a place safe with friends, and the other people was screaming, and begging for help, and we couldn't do anything. And we pray for God to protect them.
There must have been a moment when you all realised that you had nothing.
Yeah. Me and my husband, we woke up crying. And we hugged each other, and I said to him, we have nothing. We lost everything. 26 years in this country. But then something inside me, in my heart, says, you lost everything, but you have everything. Which was my family. How many people would like to be on your shoes? And from that moment, I never, cried for the things I've lost.
And your daughter Ines made the national news. She took her GCSE chemistry the next morning after the fire.
Yes. In the morning she said, Mom, I'm going to school. I said, you can't go to school like that because you have no uniform. And she had a white top, covered in black because of the smoke. And she said, I don't care. I've been studying so hard, I'm not going to miss my exam. So she did the exam, and thank God she did very well.
She obviously has her mother's strength.
Yeah. In my difficult moments of my life, I felt his presence. And I felt that he loves me and he gives me the strength. He's my friend.
In times like these, it's good to reflect on those who in generations past have put their lives on the line to keep us safe. In June last year, I interviewed one of the most amazing people I've ever met, the remarkable D-Day veteran, Harry Billinge. On D-Day, Harry Billinge was just 18 and a sapper in the Royal Engineers. He and his fellow veterans are welcomed as heroes here in France. But at 93, Harry knows this visit could be his last. He's taken me back to where he landed on Gold Beach, and the years have not made the memories any less vivid.
There was so much noise, it was deafening.
How scared were you?
No, I wasn't scared. My dad told me never to be scared, because if you're scared, you're not with it. You've got to keep your head. The sea here was red with human blood, so you can say the men were baptised in their own blood. And I've never forgotten that scene. It's with me all the time. What a terrible waste of human life when we should be living in peace as Christians.
Did all the young men in your boat survive?
4 got killed in the aftermath. When it was all done, when we done the job, we had to do blow up that site, and then four got killed out of 10 of us.
Right.
All the heroes, sir, are gone and dead, but they live in hearts.
And they live on in you?
Yes, yes, I never forget them. Never am I able to forget.
Since the war, Harry has worked tirelessly to commemorate the sacrifice of Normandy. He's brought me to the cemetery where many who gave their lives 75 years ago were laid to rest. When you're here, how do you feel?
I like with the boys. None of these fellows are dead. To live in hearts we leave behind is not to die. Love is the strongest thing. Love is stronger than death. You're going to read the 13th Corinthians, and it says, now abideth faith, hope and love. I studied the book, and I'm more convinced now in my faith that the Lord carried me through all this for a purpose. And I'm delighted and honoured to be able to do what I do.
You must have been quite a lot of comfort to your fellow soldiers if you were, if you were keeping positive.
Say a prayer. I was with a lot of hard men, real killers, in the war, and when we was in a sticky place, they said, well, what are we going to do? I said, well, say a prayer. And do you know what? After every skirmish, and when we were in a dodgy position, they used to say a prayer out, and I used to do that.
What was your prayer? Do you
My
remember?
prayer, yeah, it starts off, "Help us with thy continual help, and all our works begun, continue, and ended in thee. We may glorify thy holy name, and finally, by thy mercy, obtain everlasting life through Jesus Christ our Lord."
A lot of people watching this programme might say, you know, where's God in war? Why did God allow all these people to die?
Well, it's nothing to do with God, is it? It's the evil, no, the evil that's in every man. Then there's a divine spark in every man too. The light is to every man that cometh into the world. Just got to fan it. But I want everybody to remember, because I can't forget. And I can't.
Do you wish you could?
No. But they all gave their lives for a cause. It's terrible. I can still hear it. The guns of our march are silent, but I still hear them
Do
to
you?
this day. Yeah, every day.
Next week, in a programme pre-recorded for Palm Sunday, Sean Fletcher visits Glasgow Cathedral to hear how the building and the community mark Holy Week.
Well, it's been wonderful remembering some of my favourite Songs of Praise stories. I hope you've enjoyed it too. Before our final hymn, we've asked the new Archbishop of York, Stephen Cottrell, to lead us in a prayer.
Jesus, the woman who reached out to you and touched just the hem of your garment, still received healing and blessing. Give to us, who cannot at the moment come to church, who are isolated and fearful, who cannot touch, the gift of your presence, and bring your healing to our world. Amen.